Welcome back to New Society Podcast. So today we are doing some rapid fire questions because we are so backlogged on questions from people.
Yeah.
So I have at least 15 questions here that we're going to try and get through. We usually kind of go on about it a little too much. So we're going to try and just
Keep
get to the good
short,
stuff with all of it. The first question is, how do I know if I'm with a mature man? So first of all, what I would say to that is a mature man is not obsessed with social media. He might have it for business purposes, but he's not just sitting there scrolling on social media, looking at girls, double tapping their pictures.
Or consistently posting.
You know, preferably not.
I've always found it really weird that guys are constantly posting on social media.
I find it a little strange.
Because it's not something that guys do. It's not like we're calling each other up and saying, hey, what'd you eat last night? But they can't help themselves post. I don't know.
It's the attention seeking, I think, is a little bit more strange for a masculine person.
Definitely. A mature person.
I mean, I post, but it's for business purposes.
We're not talking about women. We're talking about mature men, right?
Yeah.
I think women should post as much as they want because that's how women communicate. They just share all the time. I mean, every time you post a video, it's like, hey, where'd you get that shirt? I love that shade on you. No, and where'd you get it? No one even no one talks like that. No man talks like that.
And again, it's not that men can't do that. And there could be a perfectly nice guy that does that. But if you'll know that's hype, if he's just scrolling, you see what's on his feed, like you'll be able to know. The next thing is if he can communicate his feelings to you without giving you an attitude.
Yeah. It's easier said than done sometimes.
Oh, yeah. It's hard to be a mature man sometimes.
I mean, but you have to be, I guess that's part of being mature and being introspective because that's where the attitude comes from. It comes from not being introspective.
The attitude comes from a lot of things. One of them being just failure to communicate and realizing that and prioritizing communication over being angry.
Yeah.
He doesn't get weird about your time of the month.
Wow. I mean, I guess I've heard that guys do get weird about that,
because a lot of girls will say like, oh, I have, I don't know if this is like gross to you or whatever. Like a mature man is not going to care about that. I'm not saying he's going to go down on you or something during that time, but he's going to be caring to you about it. He's also going to be understanding of the fact that you're needing a little more love and affection. And you're maybe going to feel a little low energy at that point. If he's not understanding that, not a mature man.
Yeah, and it's something that happens to a woman every single month. What are you going to hide every time she's having... I don't even understand where the immaturity with that comes from.
I guess a fear of blood. I don't know.
That's wild.
And they're just not being empathetic. They've never experienced it, so they don't know what it's like. So they're not giving you the empathy that you need. A mature man is not over drinking. He's just not. I'm sorry. A mature man knows how to hold his drink. Yeah,
we're being a little tame because some of these are getting clipped on TikTok.
Yeah, because TikTok and everything is very
yeah, you can't say anything on TikTok.
Anything at all. The slightest thing and they just ban your videos. So
yeah.
You're with a mature man if he is not hiding his phone from you. Now, I'm talking about phone passwords. I'm talking about doesn't put his phone face down, doesn't put his phone under his pillow when he's going to sleep.
Under his pillow?
I've heard it. Yes.
That's insane.
Like, what are you, 3?
I think that is the biggest thing, and people can't wrap their heads around it, especially when you post something like that, and all the men are like, well, what are you, in the CIA? What are you talking about? Honestly, what privacy? Because I work with clients all the time, and I have communications signed with NDAs and everything. You can get into my phone. You can't really like get into those accounts that or get into anything sensitive, even if you had access to my phone. You're not texting about that. I know you're not texting about stuff like that. So what's going on here?
They're using the word privacy to gaslight you into thinking that they're not keeping secrets. Like there's a big difference between having your privacy and being a secretive liar and hiding things from your partner. Especially like privacy is closing the bathroom door. Okay. Secrecy is locking your partner out of your phone.
And like you said, it's not about your partner going through your phone. It's the fact that you feel like you have to hide it.
Exactly.
Because you have that thing in your mind It's because it's probably because you're being sneaky.
You are being sneaky.
You're being sneaky. I don't care what you say. You're being sneaky.
Yeah, just like
you're not talking to your guy friends about some confidential feelings.
And that's what they say. They're like, "Oh, I'm having conversations I don't want you to see." Dude, if it just so happens to be that there's a conversation that you don't want them to see. Now, granted, if it's your partner, be honest with them. You should be able to be honest with them. But if there's some little thing that you don't want them to see, then just delete the one conversation. Just delete the few things that you just don't want them to say. Fine, but
because it's private.
Because whatever, it's so private. I don't know what that could possibly be.
Especially for your wife or your long-term partner.
The only thing I could say is if it's embarrassing, but maybe just have a conversation on the phone about it. Not in front of your wife. I don't know.
It's wild.
A mature man is honest with you even when it's difficult. So a lot of guys will not bring up what they're upset about with their woman because they don't want to start an argument. You have to be okay with those difficult conversations. Like, you're not a mature person if you're just hiding every little thing that you feel because you are going to blame the woman for having a reaction to that. Yeah. That's not an excuse not to say what's on your mind.
Yeah, and it's going to come out the wrong way when it eventually inevitably does.
Yeah, and it's going to come out in an attitude, which is the other thing that an immature man will do, is give you an attitude instead of saying what's on his mind.
Either an attitude, or you're gonna hide it long enough until it just overwhelms you, and now you're in a crazy argument that you could have prevented by manning up.
Yeah, or they do things like cheat on you and then tell you it's because you've been doing this and that, you've been disrespecting them, they've been unhappy for certain things, so it's your fault. So they cheated. No, you bring up what you're upset about. You don't just cheat on your partner. That's not how it works.
Silly.
An immature man will compete with you for sympathy. This is also one of those narcissistic tendencies. But if you tell them that you feel tired, you feel sick, and they say, "Oh, you feel tired? You're sick? I worked all day." Not a mature man.
I never was the type to be like, "Oh, well, I worked all day. You shouldn't feel tired."
Yeah.
But I will admit that it does take a little bit of understanding, and I guess living with a woman to realize that the energy levels are different.
Yes.
And that, they need to take more self-care moments. And once you see that, you better not be telling your wife that she's too tired, or your partner that she's too tired. Or
yeah. And sometimes all you need in that moment is just someone to say, "Oh, I'm sorry. How are you? What can I do for you?" Sometimes that's just what you need as a woman. Men, I'm sure, need that too. You shouldn't, anytime someone is saying that they don't feel well, unless they have narcissistic personality traits where they're constantly using empathy and sympathy from people to maintain focus on themselves, unless they're a person like that, then you should always be giving someone empathy and sympathy when they're expressing that they don't feel well.
Yeah.
It's only going to make them more low energy and feel more sick if they feel like their partner is not giving them empathy.
If you're a man and you're watching this, now you know. Now there's no excuse.
Yeah.
Just don't say that to your girl.
There's never been an excuse. A mature man does not have Snapchat. I don't care. I think I'm going to go no ifs, ands, or buts on this one.
Why? Because it's like private chats?
Yes. It deletes messages. What are you doing?
That's true.
What are you doing? What are you, a 16-year-old? No mature man needs a Snapchat.
I agree.
End of story. A mature man is either happy to take care of you, happy to do the work that they need to do, or is happy with less. So it's not the type of person that's making you feel bad for not contributing, and not someone that, and it's not to say that people's work life isn't stressful, but a mature man is not going to tell you that you're lazy as a woman for not doing as much work as they're doing.
I don't think a mature man should be telling anybody that they're lazier than them.
It's true.
I think that if you work hard, then be proud that you're working hard and keep it to yourself. Yeah. Stop complaining.
It's strange. I think
I see it in your comments too. It's like, "Oh, well, I work 65 hours a week." Good. I hope you're making money and being a successful adult man. Why are you complaining?
Yeah.
If you're unsatisfied with your job, move on to another job.
Yeah. That's how I feel about it.
Jeez.
And I do get it. Like, it's not like, because they're not saying it in a way where they're just randomly expressing their unhappiness with their job. Obviously, no one wants to work, but they're saying it in reaction to women having less energy than them. And they're like, man up, I have a job. Okay, babe.
Stop complaining.
You know you're with a mature man if he says what he's going to do. If you've never been disappointed by him telling you he was going to do something, telling you all the things he was going to do, and then didn't do it. So a mature man is consistent and sticks to his word.
Yeah. I remember you telling me this when we first started dating, that's one of the main things that you look at.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just don't trust a man that says he's going to do something or says we're going to meet up and doesn't do it. It is the hallmark sign of someone that's just using you.
And if you're looking to be successful in anything as a man as well, you have stick by your word. If you give your word to do something, you have to do it. And being inconsistent is not attractive in any scenario.
It's ridiculously unattractive, but people get caught up in it because they're not expecting you to be inconsistent. They just assume you said it, so they're going to believe you for a good long time until they realize that this person is just a liar, because you're never just going to assume, oh yeah, that they're just a liar.
Yeah.
My last point about this for now. A mature man will let you cool down during an argument, and he will cool down during an argument. If you say, I don't want to talk about this right now, and you need some space, if he doesn't let you have that space, if he continues to argue with you, that's not a mature person. Next topic. Is it okay for my man to be friends with his ex? Short answer, absolutely not.
Yeah, big time.
I don't see any point. Friendly? Okay. Talking to occasionally, where you can also see the messages, understandable. Constantly talking with her, hanging out with her when you're not around, 0%.
I don't even know how this is a question. I think
because men gaslight their girls into thinking that it's okay. Like, oh, but we're not together anymore. It doesn't mean anything. I don't care. If you chose this person as your partner, they're your priority now. And if she's uncomfortable with it, make a choice.
It should be a very easy choice if that is actually your ex.
Together. I'm sorry.
Exactly. And you said it best. I don't care. Yeah. If you're the woman in that relationship and you feel uncomfortable, that's all that should matter. You're not going to try to correct her feeling uncomfortable, because everyone knows that situations could happen. Yeah. And you're putting yourself in a situation, if you're hanging out alone with her, that something could happen, or you're talking to her and something might be just said that's disrespectful. Yeah. Even just talking about your past in certain situations might be disrespectful, and you're doing it.
It's not right.
It's not right.
It's such odd behavior. The fact that even girls are dealing with this, it makes absolutely no sense.
Insane. I have not talked to any of my exes since
and honestly, I never told you. I don't think you should have to tell your partner not to talk to their ex. I think that they should already not want to. Right. But if, say, out of nowhere, your ex messages you and you want to be able to respond to that person, I think you should tell your partner, say, do you mind if I just respond to them? We're not on bad terms. Fine. That's totally fine. If you want to just remain on good terms with a person, I completely understand that, especially if it was an ex from a long time ago. If they don't feel comfortable, understandable.
And you shouldn't make a big deal about it at all. Because what are you trying to do? You trying to go back to your ex? What's
exactly.
Going on?
If you're not okay with it, then you're prioritizing your ex over your partner.
That's
so
crazy.
Get back together.
I can't even believe this is a question.
It is.
Wow.
And yet it is. Next question. Now we're switching a little bit to dating here as opposed to being in a relationship for some of these. So this is one a little bit more of a dating. What do I ask a man on a first date? Now this one's interesting because you should not listen to any video that you find on social media about what to ask a man on a first date, because they are all so wrong. It is going to, you're not getting a call back. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So they'll say things like, you shouldn't be asking any questions about a relationship on a first date. Yeah. It makes no sense. You shouldn't go into the first date acting like this is a potential relationship. Even if you do feel that way, obviously, you should look at it as this is a potential friend.
Yeah.
Also, because you want to find out their true colors, which is another topic that we'll get into. But you should be only asking questions that are fun. You should just be trying to have fun on this date. Do not make it an interrogation.
Yep.
Do not make it an interview.
Yep.
That's weird behavior.
It's a first date. And I think that's the big problem. And we've seen it in front of us where people are just going on dates and asking questions about work and what you do. No one wants to get off work and go out with someone and then be quizzed about their work. They want it to be fun.
Okay, yes. So I have better questions here. So on a first date, as opposed to asking someone what they do, say you look like somebody who, and then say something that's playful. So then they're obviously going to respond with what they actually do. But if you're like,
or how they are or whatever.
Yeah.
Make assumptions.
Yeah, make ridiculous assumptions that are playful. Now, this also, if you meet someone out, don't ask them their name. Just say you look like a whatever. Say some ridiculous name.
Yeah.
And then if you do want to get to know things about them, don't ask about their job. If they want to talk about it, fine, but don't get into too serious of a conversation. Like, so if you want to ask them questions on a first date, obviously just don't ask things that are boring. Ask things like, what's your favorite movie? What is your sign? What's your favorite song? What's your favorite show? Things that are about entertainment versus things that are fun, not things that are going to lead to a boring conversation.
And you should definitely put yourself out there. Like if you believe in signs and all that stuff, definitely ask him about it because you want to see if he's the kind of guy that's, would even if he doesn't believe it, how does he treat you about it?
That's true, because you don't want to deal with a guy who's going to talk down to you about it. Exactly. Although if he knows too much about Zodiac, then somebody cooked.
What does that mean?
That means that if somebody cooked here, that means that like a girl, like he's been around way too many girls, way too many relationships. He knows way too much about Zodiac.
Oh.
So that's a good question.
Interesting.
You could gauge a lot about a man if you ask about his Zodiac.
And he knows
including
too much
his
about
sign. If he either knows too much or he has an attitude about it, you can find out a lot.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
But do not listen to what they say on TikTok. Because they'll literally say, ask him how he feels about therapy. Ask him how he feels about second chances. Don't do any of that.
Yeah.
I can't think of something worse to ask about on a first date. They're going to be running for the door.
Yeah, I think steer away from anything talking about the future of you two together. And that sounds, counterproductive to what you're probably trying to go for when you're dating. But it's just not. You're not going to get to know a person really based on that, because above all the logistical stuff, you have to actually like this person.
Yeah.
So you have to know that you can have fun with this person, or else what are you going to do? You're going to go on every day talking about your future.
Yeah. It's so weird. It's like Love is Blind. No, Love is Blind. Is that the one where they're in the pods?
Yeah. Where they're just like quizzing each other.
You're not on Love is Blind. It's so weird because once they get out of the pods, you realize how awkward they are in person when they're actually hanging out, because they never did anything other than relate to each other about their 5-year plan.
Right. Yep. This is what I want to be. This is what I want to do. That's great too. And you should
find that out, but not on the first date.
Not on the first date. Why don't you, I think a better way to look at it is just gauge yourself. Just like try to figure it out.
Yes.
That might be
because that's a much better way to do it.
Yeah. And then you can ask, then
because they're going to lie to you anyway. If they think that that's what you want and they're just trying to sleep with you, they're going to be like, yeah, I want 5 kids also.
Exactly. This is a great way to weed out the people that are not serious, for sure.
There's no way he's just going to be honest about that. Yeah. If he's a liar, he's going to lie. Another thing to do when you are on a first date, instead of asking what they do for a living, ask what is the craziest thing they've ever done.
Yeah, it's a great question.
Was that my question or was that your question?
I told you about that question, but you could use it. That communicates so much
about a person.
Because one, you're putting them on the spot, which is always a great thing to do. Because they're not ready for that kind of question. No one's really asking that. And just, whatever the answer is, you can gauge how actually, crazy they are. Or if it's very tame, then that's the kind of person they are. If it's
and you'll be able to tell if they're lying about how tame it is.
Yeah, which is good, which is mysterious.
Yes. And it puts you in a position where you seem like the type of person that they can be open with.
Exactly.
Because if you just ask them things like, how many kids do you want? They will never, ever in their life be honest with you about the crazy things that they've done. They will never show you their true colors because they know that you are the type of person that cannot handle it.
But you need to know their true colors to get into a long-term relationship. Yeah, I would say definitely do that. And this is the kind of topic you want to get into, right? It's just acting like it's...
Yes, I have another. One of these questions is about how to find a true man's colors.
Find a true man's colors.
How to find a man's true colors. So we'll get more into that. We've talked about this before a little bit, but we didn't do it rapid fire, so we're doing it this time. What do I do if my man is obsessed with video games? Because men are ruining their relationships because they're so obsessed with playing video games.
Yeah.
First of all, make sure that they do not have a video game girlfriend. And I know you didn't even know about this. I have seen girls complain about this, that they found out that their man was cheating on them with a girl in a video game. So make sure it's not just the video game and it's not just that that's his way to cheat.
Yeah, especially if he's playing games on his computer. That's another thing, because they have all these chat rooms and whatnot. And you meet people there because you're like hanging out with them all day and you're playing video games with them all day.
The other thing is, make sure that this is not a lost cause, because these games are built in a way to make them not be able to stop playing.
Yeah, they are very, very adept at hitting the reward centers of someone's brain over and over and over again and making them actually feel like they need it every single day. And so they will tell you that they need to play. You will see the need to play. When they're away from it and they're not doing it for a while, you'll see they get a little irritated, agitated, just like other things. Yeah.
So it's not that they don't love you enough. They just literally have a problem. And unless they are willing to seriously address it, then they're not going to be able to stop.
Yeah.
The other thing is, make sure that if you decide that you can't tolerate a man playing video games anymore, just make sure that it's definitely a deal breaker for you. And I'm not saying that the bar should be set so low that this should be the case, but there's worse alternatives than a guy playing video games sometimes. Now, doing it all the time and neglecting you is not okay, but if that's his way to socialize with his friends as opposed to going to the bar, then you might want to leave it at that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean that's if he's able to balance his life between relationship, work, and video games, then it's totally fine. Then it's just a hobby. But it's when you get too obsessed with it, that's when it becomes crazy.
Yeah.
And you let other things go in your life. That's when it gets
If he's staying
nuts.
up all night playing video games instead of spending time with you, and he's not happy with you, and he's only happy if he's playing games, then it's too much.
Yeah.
The next question is, what red flags should I look for in a man? One of the biggest red flags in a man, leaving hard eye comments on girls' Instagrams.
Right.
Any
random
guy,
girls.
I don't care what girl it is. It's so, can you imagine a mature man leaving hard eye comments on some girl's pictures? I'm sorry. Absolutely not. That's a no. Agree. That's a red flag. If a man is hiding his phone password from you, that is a red flag. Do not let him tell you that he needs his privacy and everyone deserves their privacy. That's not about privacy. That's about secrecy.
Yep.
It is a red flag if a man is always complaining that his ex was the problem.
Wow. Yeah, that's a good one.
9 times out of 10, he was the problem.
Yeah. I mean, it could be that.
But what are you doing talking? Even if she was the problem.
But you shouldn't be talking about it.
Why are you talking about her?
I would say that there was some situations in my past that was definitely the problem that I've told you about before. But that was never like attacking.
Yeah.
There's certain men that just attack their exes verbally, and it's just like, relax. Like, you clearly were with this person for a reason, and something failed and you had to part ways. Treat it like that. That's it. Wish the best for them. Leave it alone. That's how you be mature about it.
The other thing is, it's a red flag if a man is comparing you constantly to his ex, positive or negative. If he says, oh, my ex always did that, so I can't believe you're doing that. Or, oh, my ex never did that. Why are you doing that?
Yeah.
It is a red flag if a man is constantly making misogynistic jokes.
Big red flag.
Big red flag,
Big
right?
red flag.
Because that's how he actually feels about it.
That's how he actually, most truths are said in jest. 100%. Like, if that's your main source of entertainment and you find that hilarious, you believe some of it. And you can call it a joke all you want. You believe it. Yeah. And if you're fixated on gender issues, like you said, or not gender issues, but gender roles, also a red flag.
Also a red flag. If you know, you know. If you know me, if you know my videos, you know. It is a red flag if a guy is always telling you that you're jealous and insecure. If you genuinely know that he is just doing things to make you feel that way, major red flag.
Yeah.
Huge sign of a gaslighter, because they like to use words that have a negative connotation to make you feel like you're probably wrong. Because technically, yes, he can say that. Yeah, you're having feelings of jealousy for legitimate reasons.
People get jealous. People have feelings of jealousy. People have feelings of insecurity.
Yeah, because you're liking other girls' pictures and commenting hard eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel a little jealous and insecure.
And your response, and a man's response, should not be, you shouldn't do that because that's a wrong attribute to have as a woman.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, what can I do to make you feel less this way?
Exactly. It is a red flag if a man is telling you immediately how much he loves you and is obsessed with you. Or if he's doing so much for you and you just feel that something's off. It's not genuine, and it is most likely love bombing.
Definitely.
It's one thing, obviously, to eventually say he loves you, but if you feel off about it, love bombing. It's a red flag if he gets angry with you or salty with you, really at any point, but early in the relationship. So if you are not texting back fast enough, or you do something that he feels is disrespectful and he's just acting salty to you, don't let that make you feel insecure that you've done something wrong. He's being immature.
Yeah.
That is a red flag. That is not the type of behavior you should be having, especially early on when you're talking to someone or early on in a relationship, because it is only going to get worse.
It's going to get worse. And if you accept it, he's just going to be emboldened to keep doing it. So you have to stamp that out quickly
right away.
Or
and
realize,
if he doesn't,
then he's not mature enough for you. And you don't want to be dealing with that. You're going to get locked up in a situation that you're going to spend years of your life in. And it's going to be this salty dude.
Yeah. I kind of talked about this one and the other one, but it is a red flag if he has issues with his ex. If he's going on and on about how he can't stand her, constantly comparing you to her, red flag. You could tell a guy's a red flag if his friends are immature. There's no way he's ultimately mature and his friends are just constantly cheating on girls behind their backs. There's just no way.
Or talking in immature ways. That's another thing. Yeah. Also avoid men that have their boys tell them to come out on boys' nights out with the girl.
Without the girl.
Without the girl. Just avoid that.
Avoid that. Avoid that at all costs. Absolutely no way.
Those
guys are encouraging him to cheat.
100%. You can find a guy that doesn't do that.
100%.
If you're in the dating phase, just find a different guy. Because you're not going to be okay with it at some point.
Yeah.
Just realize that you're not going to be okay with it.
There's a reason he's doing it.
If you're going to be with your best friend, if you're going to get into a long-term relationship with someone that's going to be your best friend, you should be able to go everywhere with them all the time. Yeah. Shouldn't need breaks. We say this all the time.
You can decide if you don't want to go out with his boys, but don't be with someone who's gaslighting and saying to you that, oh, come on, it's boys' night. Sit in the living room then. It is a red flag if a man's friends are hitting on you, because it means that they know that he's cheating on you.
Yep.
So they don't feel bad about it.
They don't feel bad about it, or they know that he doesn't care that much about you enough to talk you up to the point where they wouldn't disrespect him by doing that.
It's possible they're just a terrible friend.
Yeah.
But we're talking red flags here.
Yeah, just keep it, that's like a yellow flag, I guess.
Yeah, it's a yellow flag. It's a red flag if he is constantly judging people, like making jokes about people. Say you're on a date and he's looking around and just making snarky comments about people. He's a nasty person.
That's interesting. I didn't think of that. In a not joking way.
Making jokes that are just a little off color.
Yeah.
If he's making jokes about people's appearance, about their weight or something, if he's making jokes about people that are potentially audible to that person, he's not a good person. He is not empathetic. Red flag.
100%. Yeah.
Next question. What are some tips for going on a first date? Number one, if you're not bringing Listerine,
I thought you were going to say something serious here.
Number one, if you do not bring Listerine with you at all times in your purse, I do not know what you're doing with your life. And perfume, but on a more serious note, okay? On a first date, if you want to get to know what a guy is really like, act like you're cool about everything. Act like anything is cool with you. Don't ask about relationships. Act like you're just, even if you're not, act like you're just this crazy girl, you don't care, because he's going to feel comfortable telling you all the things that he would otherwise have never told about you, would have never told you. That's the only way to know. The reason that I know so much about guys is because for the majority of my life, I was never interested in being in relationships with them. So I was just the cool girl. They felt comfortable, and they still feel comfortable telling me everything because I don't make them feel judged. Don't make the guy feel judged, and he will tell you everything because he's going to want to seem cool also.
Yep. Yeah, if you can manufacture that for sure and just be the cool girl, even just fake it, you can learn pretty much everything.
Yeah. And then the things that you are cool about will be fine. You'll be able to stay with that person. But if you're not cool with that stuff, it doesn't matter. You don't have to fake it because you'll just decide you don't want to be with that guy. And if he decides to say, I'm not really into that, and now he thinks you're a little off, just say, I'm just kidding. I was just testing you.
Yeah. There you go.
Perfect system. Another tip for the first date, like I said before, don't interview them. This is not an interview process. You're going into this just trying to have fun. That's the only way to do it. On the first date, if you want to tell if he's a 50-50 guy or not, you have to at least reach around in your purse to pay the check, or at least to split the check. Because if he's the type of guy that is uncomfortable with a woman paying and that's what you want, he's going to say, no, put that away. But if he is a 50-50 guy, he's going to let you pay. But you're never going to know that if you don't take out your card.
But you want to take out your card to figure it out, is what you're saying.
Yes.
I have a little bit of a different opinion. I think if a man invites you out, he should pay. And I don't think you should even attempt to pull out your card.
But don't you want to know if down the line he might, because he's obvious, if you don't pull anything out, or if he just pulls it out right away, if you could just tell the vibes are, this guy is obviously paying, then fine. But I think it's a great way to find out right off the bat. Because he's not going to let you. If he's the type of guy, he's not going to let you. You would never let a girl.
Not even.
You wouldn't even let anyone I'm near, or any friends of mine, pay anything.
I know. Sometimes your friends like go to the counter and pay to try to get to pay.
So that's how you're gonna find out. Make the first date on the weekend, because if he agrees to that, then that means he's more serious about you, because the weekend is for finding new girls. So if he agrees to a weekend date, it's much more likely that he's actually going to be serious about you.
Yeah, that's a good way to not get played, for sure. Yeah, take me out on Saturday night.
As he should. Not Sunday night, Saturday night.
Yeah, definitely Saturday night.
Okay. On the first date, meet there. Do not get stuck in a situation where he's driving you, for one, because I can't think of a more awkward car ride. And two, if you want to leave, you need to be able to leave. You don't want it to be the type of situation where it's like, oh, well, I took you, I drove you here, and let me take you home. No.
Yeah, and you'll find out the type of guy he is depending on how he reacts to that too. Because a lot of guys are like, oh, come on, let me pick you up.
Yeah.
Because they know that's a move. Like that's just something that guys talk about.
Really?
Yeah. That's like a trick. It's like not a trick, but just like, I guess your chances go up if, you're driving the girl home.
Okay, meet there. Okay. On the first date, do not drink too much, because you want to know if you actually like this guy. If you're too under the influence, then you're not going to know. You're just really going to like him. And then if you're on the second date and you're drinking, you're just really going to like him. No. Only have about 2 drinks on this date to find out if you actually like this man. Yeah,
don't go past that. At least one of you're saying the first date, right?
First date.
Yeah, for the first date, just keep it at 2. Gauge your mentality. Make sure you're not completely just lost in it because of drinking.
Yes, keep a clear head. Another tip for the first date: if and when he does pay, be grateful. Don't be the type of girl that just sits there like putting on lipstick. Say thank you.
Oh, this is such a big thing.
Huge.
Huge.
You could have a great date, and then if you're the type of person who acts like a spoiled person,
yeah,
he's not going to want to talk to you again. He's not going to want to do anything for you.
This is men and women. I don't know where it comes from. I guess it's just being raised bad. I cannot imagine anyone doing even the smallest thing for me.
Yeah.
And me not saying thank you, let alone paying for my dinner.
Yeah.
Just say thank you. It's 2 words and it will make you look amazing in front of people's eyes.
And also it's the right thing to do. And don't just say thank you. Don't say thank you like a very dry thank you. Be actually grateful. Like, thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Exactly. Goes a long way.
It goes a long way.
Yeah. And people notice. People notice, especially rich men.
Yes.
Rich men will notice.
Especially if they're used to girls who are unappreciative.
It's not just girls. Like rich men.
People. There's also many people.
Rich men who take care of bills, for example.
They're very used to people taking it for granted that they have enough money to spend on it.
Yep. Exactly. And you notice. They're not dumb.
Yeah. It doesn't feel
I
good.
do it all the time. I notice. I notice who doesn't say thank you. I would never say anything because it's like, it is whatever to me.
Exactly.
But
you notice.
I notice.
You don't want to do things for people who aren't grateful for even the small things that you do.
Yep. And they're going to make a mental note for sure.
Okay. Don't go into the first date with any relationship expectations. Like I said, just go into that first date with maybe this is a potential friend and you will have a much better attitude going into it. You're going to be way more fun as a person. Yeah.
And both whether it goes well or it goes horribly, like you have to look at it in that way, because if it goes, you're going to, what's the word? You're going to fantasize about this.
Yeah.
If you're going into it seeking a relationship, you're going to be like, oh, maybe that's not bad. Whatever. Let me just keep going. Keep trying.
You're going to overlook some things, or you're just going to have a really awkward time.
Exactly.
Okay. Other advice for the first date? Give your friends your location. I don't trust people nowadays.
Exactly.
Next question. What are signs that I'm dating a narcissist? Number one sign is they say to you, the number one sign that you're with a narcissist is if they say to you, you can't do better than me.
For sure. And I think this is the silliest one.
It's so strange to say to someone, you'll never do better than me. I obviously can. You're obviously a psychopath.
Not only that, but what does that say about you? Yeah, it's like you're putting your woman down.
Yeah, it's such an obvious manipulation tactic. Don't let it get to your head, because there's any person who says that to you is not worth being with.
Yeah, you should immediately think, absolutely, I can do better than you. And you should say that.
Yeah.
Just say it.
If you're the type of person that would talk to me like that, then I can clearly do better.
Boom.
You can tell you're with a narcissist if they constantly compete with you for sympathy, which I said before, but there's no situation in which you shouldn't be getting sympathy and empathy for not feeling well. There's absolutely no reason not to just say, oh, I'm sorry, what's wrong? As opposed to, are you serious? I worked all day.
Yeah.
Zero reason, because you can give empathy and then get empathy. There's nothing wrong with giving empathy and then saying, oh, I'm really not feeling well either.
Yeah.
Huge difference.
Absolutely.
That's a narcissist.
Especially to someone that you love.
I know. What do you not? You obviously don't love this person more than you love yourself.
Again, this is one of these things I just cannot believe the amount of women that tell you that this is happening.
Nonstop.
Wow.
They're in the relationship because the person is an empath. And that person is tolerating it because they're used to giving that person the empathy and they're not getting it back themselves.
Crazy.
Another sign of a narcissist is if they are arguing with you in public. They're getting loud over you because they need people around them to think that they're in charge in the situation. Because a narcissist is constantly needing to protect this image of themselves. So if they feel like they're being disrespected in public, they're going to get loud about it and they're going to try and make themselves look bigger to other people.
Wow. Yeah.
Red flag, narcissist.
I mean, you could see it. You could hear it a mile away. If someone's, you could hear the narcissism, because there's no situation. There is absolutely no situation where you should get loud with your woman in public.
Yeah.
That is insane.
Or in general, like quiet down. Some narcissists are concerned with their social status, how they look to other people. But the trick is that not all narcissists are like that. Another sign of a narcissist is that they're constantly looking for pity and they're And
deprecating.
Not self-deprecating, not in a sense of, not where it's like funny, but they have a lot of self-pity and they're constantly looking for empathy from you to make themselves constantly be the topic of conversation.
Yeah.
They don't always think highly of themselves, but they're always thinking of themselves.
That's very interesting.
Bars.
A
narcissist will always blame everyone else for things. So if they're constantly talking about how they're in conflict with other people and it's always someone else's fault, probably a narcissist.
Yeah.
No one has that much drama.
I agree.
A regular person doesn't have that much drama.
I mean, that's a clear sign because they can't take constructive criticism. They can't take feedback at all without lashing out. They can never be in the wrong.
Yeah.
You know, they
can. That's the other thing about a narcissist. If you need an apology from them, they're not going to give it to you because that's their way of admitting that they're wrong to you. So they did these studies where they used electromyography to map facial expressions. A narcissist will get really uncomfortable if they're in a social setting. They have a really low social pain tolerance. So if they feel disrespected or criticized in public, they will not say anything about it, but on their face, they'll be showing anger. They're going to be showing frustration. So as a woman, usually we're much better at picking up on those nonverbal cues. So you'll get a sense from their body language that they're very bothered when they're in a situation where someone's even making a little joke about them. Right. They're not able to handle that.
Yeah, you'll see it on their face. Yeah.
Another sign of a narcissist is if you feel like you're always doing what they want to do.
Wow. Yeah.
So if you're a little bit of a people pleaser, then you're probably not going to notice. But if you look back on your life and you realize, if you look back on your relationship with them and you realize that you're not always doing what you want to do, but you're constantly worried about if they're having a good time, they're probably a narcissist.
Yeah. It means they don't care about you.
They only care about themselves. If you feel like you're constantly walking on eggshells, then they are probably a narcissist. Because once again, everything is always about them. They can never admit that they're wrong. So you can't say anything to them because they constantly need to be happy and they constantly need to maintain their image of themselves.
Yeah. I mean, walking on eggshells in a relationship is exhausting. You should be able to speak your mind.
Yeah.
And if anyone's making you feel like you can't do that, that's a problem.
And they will gaslight you into thinking that you're the problem for bringing anything up.
Yeah.
That's the kicker. Next question. Should I let my man have a bachelor party?
No.
No.
I think it's the silliest things, and the things that I've heard from my friends that have had bachelor parties or invited me to bachelor parties and said I couldn't bring my girl.
Yeah.
Which I'm not going to.
Debaucherous. Disgusting.
Debaucherous to an insane, just nasty level.
Yeah. To the point of embarrassment.
Yeah. It's never good.
I've never heard a good story.
No.
Coming out of a bachelor party.
No.
I'm sorry.
It's never nice.
Go camping. Go in the woods. You need to spend time with your boys. Spend time with your boys. Go be a man.
Go be a man and go camping in the woods.
Yes, that's what you needed.
I'm so the way that it's done is just silly. It lends, it leads to cheating of some form because you're being egged on by your boys.
Yeah.
I've never not seen it lead to some form of cheating, or at least the attempt.
Yes.
At cheating.
The attempt at cheating is always there.
Which is just as bad.
And
it's even more
embarrassing.
It's
actually pathetic.
It's pathetic.
It's actually worse because they couldn't get anyone.
Yeah.
That's
the fact that you need to go with your boys to Vegas or whatever to have one last night before you're married, get out of here.
Exactly. Because that's the whole point of it, right? They're doing
So you're having the one last time you have fun before you get locked up with your wife?
Yeah. So what do you think they're doing? If this is their last chance before marriage, what do you think they're doing?
And the fact that you even are thinking in that way, like, oh, the last chance before marriage
then don't get married.
Don't get married. Don't get married. What are you not going to have fun anymore? You should be having fun with your wife.
You guys should be. And how weird is it to start a marriage that way? The night before you.
Listen, if you like to go to Vegas and you like to party and you want to go crazy, go with your wife.
If you can't
I would never do that. I would never do that.
Don't get married.
Imagine I was like, yeah, I need to go with my boys and have a bachelor party.
Like, goodbye.
That's not the kind of, like, I wouldn't even think about it.
Yeah.
Because I would never marry someone. If I went to a club with my boys to Vegas without you, I would be like, yo, I wish my girl was here. I would be having more fun. Because that's what we do.
Yeah.
We go to
fun
clubs
with your partner. I don't see any reason you can't have fun with your partner. Sorry.
That's unless you're trying to have fun with other people that
and you can be okay with each other socializing with the opposite gender. That's totally fine in front of each other.
Yeah.
But don't be sneaky. Don't do things behind their back. I'm sorry, bachelor parties. No. 2024, no more bachelor parties.
100%.
And it might not even be that he wants to cheat, but his boys are going to encourage him.
Yeah, that's a question you should ask on the first date.
Yeah.
It's like, are you going to have a bachelor party when you get married?
Yeah, how do you feel about bachelor parties? How do I know if he's playing me? Your intuition will tell you, although it won't always. So here's some signs he's playing you. If he's being inconsistent, he's playing you. Yeah. Any man that can't keep his word is a player. I'm sorry. It's not hard to do what you say you're going to do. Yep. It's not that hard.
He's breaking his promise every time if he breaks his word. And that's not a sign of a good man, to be honest with you.
Guys that are not doing what they say they're going to do are doing it specifically because they know that that's what it's going to take to get you into bed with them. Bottom line. Or to get you to consistently get into bed with them with you thinking that it's going to lead to a relationship.
Yep.
Or he's just that type of person and he's going to continue to do this within the relationship. That's not going to change. A man who does not stand by his word will never stand by his word.
Yeah. Definitely don't, if you're in the dating phase, don't get into a relationship with a man like that. It's not gonna be good. No one's even gonna like him. Your friends aren't gonna like him.
You know he's playing with you if you have already caught him lying. I'm sorry, lying of any form, he's a liar. Yeah. You only caught that one thing. Do not let it slide.
He's a liar and he's done it easily, probably. And that means something. Yeah. It's something that you should take to heart. That's one of the few things that you should take to heart.
You know a man is playing you if he refuses to hang out with you on weekends. That's a subtle thing that you might not realize because he's making plans with you. You're like, oh, he's consistent. He wants to spend time. Is it a Tuesday? Have you ever seen him Friday through Sunday? He's looking for other girls.
Or he has other girls.
Or he has other girls. Or he has a girlfriend. True. Didn't even think of that one.
Yep.
Weekends.
Keep an eye out.
You're not going to know if a man is playing you just by the fact that he says he wants a relationship, he wants marriage, he wants kids. A guy can easily say those things and not be being honest about it. So if you feel, if your gut is telling you something's off about it, he's probably playing you.
Yeah. It's very easy to lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when you haven't made a commitment yet.
If you got with this guy because he was really good at flirting with you, then it's possible that he's a player. However, you're not safe if he's also not good at flirting, because that means that whenever he does get attention from a female, that he's gonna
go all in.
That he's gonna go all in because he's gonna be so excited because he's not used to being able to get a girl. Right. So you're not safe either way, but keep an eye out.
Keep an eye out for both things.
For both.
So just keep an eye out in general. Yeah.
He's always playing you. If you're constantly feeling confused and insecure about your relationship with him, most likely he's playing you, because a guy that is not playing you will not give you any signs that are going to make you feel insecure.
Right. Yeah.
Now, granted, the beginning of a relationship is always going to be
a little
nerve-wracking.
Uncertain, yeah.
Uncertain.
For sure.
But if you just constantly have this uneasy feeling like you're just not sure, he's probably playing you.
Because in the beginning of a relationship, no matter what, it should be good. I mean, it should feel very nice.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be questioning things, that early on.
Yeah. And if you constantly are feeling very excited every time he's messaging you, make sure it's not because he's just extremely inconsistent with messaging you, because we get it. We get the most excited about things that are unexpected. So if you really weren't expecting him to text you because he's so inconsistent, and then you're extremely excited, it's not because you like him, it's because he's inconsistent.
Yep.
You know that he's playing you if he gets mad when you don't get physical with him.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
There's no excuse for that. There's no excuse for that. You should be, I don't know, as a man, even if you're frustrated, it's not up to you.
Yeah. And it's not something you're entitled to.
Exactly. And to get mad and now make it a conversation, what have you done?
Yeah.
Just relax. No, seriously, how does it turn around from there? Now it's going to be this thing that hangs over the relationship.
Huge red flag. He is playing you.
I don't know if he's playing you.
He's playing you because he's not serious. Like, he's only in it for that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. In that way, yeah.
He's playing you if he's talking to a bunch of girls and telling you they're all his friends. They're not. They aren't his friends. I'm sorry.
They're not.
It's a red flag.
Yeah. Like, statistically, it's not.
It's not.
It's not.
I'm not saying he cannot have any female friends, but most likely if you find a bunch of girls coming up on his phone and he's like, oh, she's my friend. Lying. Yeah.
He's probably attracted to at least one of them. And
if it's the type of thing where it seems odd how many girls you're seeing come up on his phone,
yeah,
he's probably playing you if you feel like he's not interested in your life at all and your relationship is just based on the fact that you're interested in him. So think back on, did he ever ask you any questions about your life, and did he show any interest whatsoever, or is it always about him? Okay, next question. How do I keep from getting into another bad relationship? The best way to prevent getting into a bad relationship is to be friends with them first.
Definitely.
I don't care if you're intimate with them or not during that phase, but be friends first. Do not treat the beginning of that relationship like a commitment. You have to be okay with that person seeing other people. They have to be okay with you seeing other people. And that is very difficult. I do understand. But if you really, really, really want to avoid getting your heart broken and getting into a bad relationship, be friends first. Because if you can do that, you will know that person's true colors, and you will be able to see them as a person that you love unconditionally rather than someone you love only when they're acting a certain way and having the relationship face on.
100%. I think that's one of the biggest things. If you can do it, it's easier said than done for sure. But yeah, if you can go into it like that, then you have that base of friendship. You have that base of strong friendship, and moving on from that is just gonna work.
Yeah, it's the only way you're really gonna know this person.
Yeah, then it's not a hard cut. You get into arguments and all that. It's not just like break up. It's not this. We're in this container of a relationship. Like you're actually friends. We just like each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
Another way to keep from getting into a bad relationship, want to be in a relationship.
Yeah.
If you want to be in a relationship so bad, you're going to put up with anything. You're just going to jump into the next thing. You have to learn how to be happy being single. I don't care what you say. I don't care if you say, well, I'm just a relationship person. No, be in a relationship with yourself then. Take yourself on a date. Love yourself. Don't be that person.
I think this is the number one piece of advice for 100%. Anyone.
It's anyone, that's way easier said than done for a lot of people.
When you're in that headspace, you're going to come at that's when it's going to happen. That's when you're going to meet that person. That's when you're going to get this crazy love that's going to come to you, when you really just don't care, when you're not fishing for it and struggling for it.
Yeah.
And you're just at ease and letting things happen. And it's not to say that you completely go stagnant and don't do anything.
Yeah, like go out and meet people, but don't be desperate for a relationship. You actually have to specifically not want to be in a relationship if you really want this to work, because you are going to notice every red flag. And I'm not saying avoid it like the plague and be the type of person that's scared of a relationship, but you have to be protecting your peace.
100%. And if you don't feel like you could do that, just fake it for a little bit, and you'll, because it's not an unnatural thing what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
At your base level, you can be happy with just yourself. So if you have to fake, being the type of person that doesn't want a relationship for a little bit, you will acclimate to it eventually.
Yeah. And if you come at it with the belief that you should be happy alone, because a lot of people in society will make you feel like there's no reason for you to be happy if you're not in a relationship, because a lot of people are constantly looking for one. If you have the belief that I should be happy outside of a relationship, then you're going to find ways to be happy outside of a relationship, as opposed to I'm not going to be happy unless I'm with someone. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yep. And then think about what happens when you actually get into a relationship and you're coming from a place of happiness and merging with someone else.
Absolutely. Because otherwise you're going to put up with anything and you're going to need that person to make you happy. It's not going to happen.
Definitely.
If you want to avoid a bad relationship, avoid a person who constantly needs a thrill from the outside. They're constantly looking for the next thing. They overdrink. They maybe overeat. They maybe need to go out all the time. If that person cannot be happy with being present, if that person can't be, if they're not a happy person in general, as soon as the excitement of the relationship wears off, they will be looking for something else.
Definitely.
The other thing is to avoid getting into a bad relationship. If it feels toxic, then it's toxic. If you constantly have the voice in your head, this isn't right, I'm not happy, you have to listen to that, because it's never going to end. And you don't listen to it because you're afraid of the breakup, which is why you need to be the type of person that is okay with being alone. But
you want it to work. Yeah. You want it to work so bad, yeah.
So if it feels toxic, it's toxic. Okay. Next question. Why do I have to explain why I deserve an apology? I get this a lot. So if you have to force someone to apologize to you, it's because they think that if they apologize, then they're admitting that they're wrong. And usually that's because they're a narcissist and they cannot admit that they're wrong, but they're not getting that you need it to feel better. Them not apologizing to you is not going to make you suddenly not upset with them anymore. It's not going to change your mind, but they're not getting that. They think that if they don't apologize, then it means that there's nothing to apologize for. It's not how that works.
Yeah.
All right, next question. Why does my man get mad at me whenever I bring anything up? For one, men aren't experiencing emotional events the same way that a woman does. So when we experience an argument, we're really remembering the emotions that were attached with that. So every time it gets triggered, and it could be something random that's triggering it, you feel the need to bring it up because you're feeling the same way than when it first happened. They're not always experiencing that, so they just think that you're bringing it up to start an argument. The reason that you're bringing it up is because sometimes it just takes multiple times of them apologizing for you to finally feel resolved about it. Yeah. So if it gets to the point where every time you bring it up, they show remorse and they show empathy to you, you're not going to feel the need to bring it up anymore. But if every time you've ever brought it up, aside from that first time that they said, I'm sorry, they've made you feel bad for bringing it up, you're never going to feel resolved. In fact, you're going to feel less and less resolved about the issue because you're going to realize, wait, that first apology meant nothing. You were just saying that to make me stop talking. Yep. Because clearly you're not sorry, because the second time I brought it up, you told me, why are you still bringing this up?
Yeah. And the men that respond and say things like, oh, well, that's a you issue, or that's an issue with you that you need to fix. Grow up. Mm-hmm. Your woman is experiencing something that is troubling her emotionally. Let her experience it. Mm-hmm. Be remorseful for what you did. Yeah. It's not that complicated. What does it take out of you?
Exactly. How hard is it?
How hard is it for you? And also you treating her like, oh, that's weak for her to be doing that. You're weak for not being able to accept it. Mm-hmm. Just deal with it.
Exactly.
Why are you complaining? Mm-hmm. Man up.
The reason that they can't handle you bringing it up again is because they're a narcissist and they cannot handle the idea of being wrong. Yeah. That's why it feels like a weapon to them. Yeah. If it feels like a weapon to you, then you did something wrong. You feel bad. That's what that is.
Exactly.
If you feel bad, say, I'm sorry, because that's what that feeling is. If you feel sorry and you feel bad, that's why you say, I'm sorry.
Exactly. And if someone did something hurtful to you and it took you some time to get over it, it's going to take you as long as you need to get over it. She needs a little bit longer. Yeah. Deal with it.
The fact that they can't comprehend that they're the ones who are at fault initially.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts.
Use a brain cell. And sometimes it just takes more than once. Even if you were remorseful the first time genuinely, sometimes it just takes more than one time. The other thing is sometimes a woman will think of the argument or think of the situation that made them upset, and they'll realize another aspect about it that they didn't consider in the first place, and they'll need to bring that up.
Can't do the time, don't do the crime.
Yeah. If you can't do the time, don't do the crime. Because if you're going to hurt your woman, these are the ramifications. If the only ramification you have, if the only punishment you have is that she's upset and she needs a few more apologies out of you, consider yourself lucky that she didn't leave you.
Yes.
If you don't feel lucky that she didn't leave you,
then what do you do in this relationship? Break up with her. Yeah, 100%. It's the least, they want to project it and they want to say, oh, this is, because they want to feel manly by not dealing with it. Mm-hmm. It's not manly to not deal with it. It's not manly to hurt your
girl to begin with.
Yeah, or just be upset that she's complaining about something that you did.
Mm-hmm. Like you did it.
Think about the type of people that you idolize, the type of men that you idolize. Think about how they would act in these situations. Who knows who
they're idolizing nowadays?
Well, I'm assuming it's not.
The other thing is women bring up what they're upset about because talking about it is an emotional release. It feels good for them, but it's not the same for men. So they don't understand why you're still talking about it. For a man, talking it out doesn't feel good. That's not how they process problems. So if your woman is bringing up the past, it's because talking about it is helping her get past it. And if you have never allowed her to talk it through, then she has never fully gotten past it. And that's the other thing. If she keeps bringing it up, it's probably because you never gave her that satisfaction or because you keep doing it.
Yeah. Either way.
Next question. How do I get him to make it official?
Wow. It's a good one.
The girls that do not want a relationship are the ones who get into relationships.
All the time.
All the time. Think of any romantic comedy. It was the girl who said, I'm not looking for anyone right now, that meets the guy that she ends up falling in love with and gets married.
But that's what happens
in real life. Art
imitates
life.
Definitely.
Life imitates art.
Life imitates, I guess, both ways, right?
Yeah. Life imitates art.
Yeah, I mean, that's what happens. It happens all the time. Mm-hmm. And it's the girls that don't want the relationship that are getting hounded for a relationship.
Exactly. Because guys need the chase, for one. And two, it's attractive to just be the person that is so happy with themselves.
And so independent.
That doesn't need someone to make them happy, because it's draining to be around someone who needs you for their happiness. That's too much. It's too much to ask of a person.
Yeah. And not only that, it's just a generally attractive quality to meet someone that's just happy.
If you go into the date not wanting a relationship, then you're going to find out everything about this person. You're going to find out all of the things that they would never tell you if you just ask them how many kids that they want.
And you're going to feel more comfortable sharing what you want to share too, because there's a lot of things that get hidden going into relationships or not talked about going into relationships, and then it all comes out. You should be able to be very honest with someone, especially if they're, a stranger that you're getting to know, or someone that you know that you're getting to know better. It's like, here is exactly who I am. Tell me who you are.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to, make a version of yourself that you can't live up to. You can't live up to. You can't hold that frame for that long.
And you want to know that they actually like you for who you are, because there's nothing worse than being with someone and then they find out, oh, you used to go to these concerts. Like, I don't really like that. There's just certain things. I've been in relationships before where I just was, not concerts, but even concerts. That. Oh, I know you're not that type of person. A music festival, really?
Huh.
That type of thing, to that level. You want to know that this person is actually cool with everything about you.
Yeah.
You might not want to share absolutely everything, but although you don't want to be with someone that's asking about your body count. That should have been on red flags. If a man asks your body count, red flag.
Big time. Big time. A mature man also would not care.
Yes. A mature man does not care how many people you've been with.
Not even a little bit.
And he will never ask you.
Because he is confident in himself and he knows that it does not matter.
Yep.
insecure men, it matters a lot because if you tell them, they're going to be thinking about all the guys that you're not thinking about anymore.
Yeah. I also think sometimes they're jealous of how many guys you've been with, and I don't mean jealous of them.
Wow. Okay. All right.
If you want them to make it official, do not get mad at them for doing things that you don't want your boyfriend to be doing. So you have to allow a certain time period for you guys to not be official. If you don't have an agreement yet that you guys are exclusive, you don't get to be mad at him for not being exclusive with you. So for example, if he's going out with his friends and you guys are not in a relationship yet, you don't get to get mad about it.
Yeah.
You can get upset about it, but just go out. Go out and do something with your girls. Yeah. Do your own thing, but do not get mad about it. Don't show that you're upset about it. You're not in the relationship yet.
Yeah.
And if you get to a point that you don't want him to be doing that, that should naturally happen. And you should be having a conversation in person.
Yeah.
After, at the very least, a month.
Yeah.
I'm giving it a month.
Yeah, and watch how fast he wants to get into a relationship if you go do something with your girls.
Yes.
And while he's doing something. Because you got to remember, marriage was built by men to take control of their women. It's because they didn't want women sleeping around, so marriage was instated to keep it on lock.
Wow.
So go ahead and do your own thing. If he wants to do his thing, do your thing.
Yeah.
And see psychology and evolution work in your favor. And he'll chase you and try to lock you down.
He should be the one taking the lead in that situation. If he's not taking the lead and you're the one that had to lock him down, it's not going to go well.
Yeah, it's not a good start.
If the relationship started because you felt uncomfortable and you stopped him from going out versus him making the decision that he didn't want to see you with other people and that he didn't want to be with anyone else, it's going to be a problem.
Definitely.
Next question. Is it okay to want a man to provide for you? Absolutely.
Definitely.
Although some girls confuse wanting a man to provide for them and just wanting their basic needs met.
Like wanting to not work.
And wanting to not work. Obviously, you don't want to work. So, and honestly, I think women should have their needs met. I think there should be a lady tax and we just have our bills paid. We deal with enough.
I agree, for sure.
There's so many men who expect to provide for their woman that there's nothing wrong with being the type of woman that just wants that dynamic, especially because guys will say, what are you bringing to the table? You're bringing femininity to the table. If you don't love women, just say that. Like, if you don't want a woman in your life, if you don't enjoy a woman's
if you need her to bring something to the table for you to enjoy the presence of a woman,
then don't be with women.
Yeah.
She's bringing herself to the table.
Exactly.
Oh, the sprinkle girl. She was like, what am I bringing to the table? Another man. And it's okay to want a man to provide for you, but just make sure that you don't get stuck with someone because financially you're not able to get out of the relationship. So do not get with this man just for money if you have no other backup plan.
Yeah. I mean, you got to like the person for sure.
Yeah.
I don't think, that's just, but honestly, I agree with you. I think there's a lot of men that would definitely take the lead to provide for their woman.
Yeah. Without making them feel guilty or for being provided for. That's another, like, do not tolerate a man that makes you feel guilty because you're not working, that says, oh, that has a problem with you sleeping in or taking time for yourself. There's plenty of men who absolutely understand that a woman needs more self-care and like more downtime than a man. Yeah. So don't tolerate that.
Yeah.
And don't think that if you want a man to provide that's the type of thing that you're going to have to deal with.
Yeah. And the type of men that would voluntarily just want to provide for a woman, all they're looking for in a woman is that femininity and also a support system.
Yeah.
Just like if they're working really hard, whatever, just someone to come home to and be nice and,
Absolutely.
That's all.
Someone to just be there for them.
It's very simple.
Imagine being a man and just coming home and you're just a man in your house. Like, imagine having no feminine energy in your life. I'm sorry, but you're bringing a huge thing to the table just by being a woman. And you're also raising his status as a man. Like, Men look at other men with a good woman like more highly than they do a single man for the most part.
Definitely. Look at Steph Curry. You don't know anything about that.
What?
Just has a really good wife, like a sweetheart.
What don't I know about it?
No, I'm saying you don't know who Steph Curry is.
I mean, like, I know that he exists. He's like, what, basketball or something?
He's like one of the best basketball players, but his wife is like really just a sweetheart, like homemaker type of person. And everyone talks about how great their relationship is. Sure. Really? I'm joking.
This man is getting slapped.
You know the Drake line where he goes, you're not Aisha enough?
Yeah.
He's talking about Aisha Curry.
Interesting.
Yeah.
See? The value of women. He didn't say you're not Curry enough. But there's this whole culture going on about you being more valuable because you're with a rich guy. Who are you trying to impress at this point? Don't fall for it. Don't be the type of girl that's showing off the amount of stuff that she got from this rich guy. Show off the fact that you don't need to tolerate this man and you're comfortable living your modest life. I'm telling you right now, it's better.
Yeah.
It's absolutely better. Do not fall for it.
I agree 100%. Mm-hmm. And we have gone as a couple from having nothing to having a lot. Mm-hmm. And we actually firsthand can tell you that it really doesn't matter.
It doesn't make that big of a difference in your happiness. Like, yes, it's obviously more comfortable.
Yeah.
But it will not be worth it to have nice things and if honestly, you're not happy.
Yeah. And honestly, when you get nice and when you get to that level, like you can buy anything you want. You're not out here just like posting every single thing that you buy to show off. Like it gets like weird to do it.
Yeah, you're not going to do it anymore.
You don't get pleasure out of that. For once that ego trip is passed, once
you attain the things that you had always wanted.
Yeah.
It doesn't work anymore. You're just like, yeah, okay, I did that.
Yeah, just keep that in mind. It's something that's very important to keep in mind.
It's not worth it. Don't get stuck.
Yeah, money brings you comfort. Money brings you, and it's great. To have it, to not have to worry about bills and things like that. But aside from that,
but it's at a cost.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Okay, don't confuse wanting a man to provide for you with wanting to be provided for and not wanting to have to work, because obviously no one wants to work. And it is very possible that we will not be having to work for our basic needs come the next.
Definitely.
I'm going to give it a decade.
Yeah, it might be less than a decade considering how fast it's going, but AI is coming. Yeah. And it's going to take more people's jobs than you expect. And it doesn't matter what kind of profession you're in. You're in. It's just fast food is getting replaced.
Yeah.
Service industry is getting replaced. Workers in warehouses, all that. That's things that you hear about. But things that you don't hear about, lawyers are getting replaced.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
You're going to law school right now, and in about 5 years, you're not going to have any entry-level positions
so if
to come in as a law clerk.
If you can't get an entry-level job, you're never going to be able to get the work experience to get to that next level job.
Same thing. If you're a computer programmer right now, sad to say, but within 4 to 5 years, it's already happening where no one is hiring entry-level developers anymore because AI could actually do it better than entry-level developers. Yeah. So it's only going to get worse.
So at some point, the
government has to step in and they have to provide a basic income.
The government's going to be paying our bills.
Yeah.
That's going to be the new sugar daddy.
There you go. The government's going to be the new sugar daddy.
Yeah, you don't need a sugar daddy. The government will be your sugar daddy.
Bars.
At that point, there's no need for these men. Okay, last question. How do I avoid heartbreak? If you want to avoid heartbreak in your next relationship, plan ahead for the breakup.
Yeah, plan ahead for the breakup.
Always be ready for what your life is going to be without that person.
Yeah, you should have in mind that relationships by their nature might end. Your relationship's going to end one way, right? You're either going to break up or you're going to die. Or, I mean, honestly, it's either you're going to break up or one person's going to pass away. That's it. And if you have that in your mind, you kind of preempt it a little bit, where it's going to run its course in some way or some form. It could run its course forever.
Yeah.
Until, you're old.
That's true. You always have to plan for that, for them not being in your life. So you have to be able to always see yourself as the person without them. Like, logistically plan for your life without them.
Yeah, I wasn't even talking about logistics at all.
But I mean, yeah, you don't necessarily want to get into a situation where you're so tied to this person financially that if you do want to get out of a relationship, you're not able to.
Yeah.
For one. But two, you want to emotionally plan for not being with this person anymore. You have to periodically remind yourself that you are this person without them.
Not in a way of, shunning them, especially if you have a good relationship, but it's the easiest way. If you're dealing with heartbreak, just, in next relationship, just realize it could happen again.
It's very likely. If you want to avoid heartbreak, you have to learn how to get mad at things. You can't just be sad all the time. Learn to be mad at the things that they did to you.
Yep.
That's why you left. You weren't happy. Learn to get mad, because when you're angry, not that you want to stay angry forever, you want to let that anger go. But if you can get to a point where you're really seeing them for who they truly are, you're not going to be heartbroken when you're angry.
Yeah, it's all the same energy, right? Like, you can't really be angry at a person and then also sad that they left. If you feel like intense anger, that's all you feel.
Because if you're angry at them, then why would you be upset that they're gone? Why would you be sad about it?
You can't do two things.
You can't do them both at once.
Yep. It's two extremes, so pick the other extreme.
Yeah, pick the other one. That was the last question. That went by kind of fast for me. I don't know about you guys.
That was pretty.
How was it for you guys?
Long, yeah. I don't know. Q&A.
Yeah. Let us know how you feel about this.
And send us your questions. Yeah, we do actually read the comments and everything.
100%. I have such a long list. I know I've told you guys, but
you
would be alarmed at this document that I have with so many subsections of questions from you guys. And this was the only way we found so far to get through more than 4 topics, because we tend to go off as I'm doing right now.
For sure.
So if you're on YouTube, comment your questions. If you're on Spotify, Apple, things like that, you can DM me on Instagram at Casiah West, CASIAHWEST. But thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Be with women.
Yeah.
She's bringing herself to the table.
Exactly.
Oh, the sprinkle girl. She was like, what am I bringing to the table? Another man. And it's okay to want a man to provide for you, but just make sure that you don't get stuck with someone because financially you're not able to get out of the relationship. So do not get with this man just for money if you have no other backup plan.
Yeah. I mean, you got to like the person for sure.
Yeah.
I don't think, that's just, but honestly, I agree with you. I think there's a lot of men that would definitely take the lead to provide for their women.
Yeah. Without making them feel guilty or for being provided for. That's another, like, do not tolerate a man that makes you feel guilty because you're not working, that says, oh, that has a problem with you sleeping in or taking time for yourself. There's plenty of men who absolutely understand that a woman needs more self-care and like more downtime than a man. Yeah. So don't tolerate that.
Yeah.
And don't think that if you want a man to provide, that that's the type of thing that you're going to have to deal with.
Yeah. And the type of men that would voluntarily just want to provide for a woman, all they're looking for in a woman is that femininity and also a support system.
Yeah.
Just like if they're working really hard, whatever, just someone to come home to and be nice and,
Absolutely.
That's all.
Someone to just be there for them.
It's very simple.
Imagine being a man and just coming home and you're just a man in your house. Like, imagine having no feminine energy in your life. I'm sorry, but you're bringing a huge thing to the table just by being a woman. And you're also raising his status as a man. Like, men look at other men with a good woman like more highly than they do a single man for the most part.
Definitely. Look at Steph Curry. You don't know anything about that.
What?
Just has a really good wife, like a sweetheart.
What don't I know about it?
No, I'm saying you don't know who Steph Curry is.
I mean, like, I know that he exists. He's like, what, basketball or something?
He's like one of the best basketball players, but his wife is like really just a sweetheart, like homemaker type of person. And everyone talks about how great their relationship is.
Really?
I'm joking.
This man is getting slapped.
You know the Drake line where he goes, "You're not Aisha enough."
Yeah.
She's talking about Aisha Curry.
Interesting.
Yeah.
See? The value of women. He didn't say you're not curry enough. But there's this whole culture going on about you being more valuable because you're with a rich guy. Who are you trying to impress at this point? Don't fall for it. Don't be the type of girl that's showing off the amount of stuff that she got from this rich guy. Show off the fact that you don't need to tolerate this man and you're comfortable living your modest life. I'm telling you right now, it's better.
Yeah.
It's absolutely better. Do not fall for it.
I agree 100%. And we have gone as a couple from having nothing to having a lot. And we actually firsthand can tell you that it really doesn't matter.
It doesn't make that big of a difference in your happiness. Like, yes, it's obviously more comfortable.
Yeah.
But it will not be worth it to have nice things and if honestly, you're not happy.
Yeah. And honestly, when you get nice and when you get to that level, like you can buy anything you want. You're not out here just like posting every single thing that you buy to show off. Like it gets like weird to do it.
Yeah, you're not going to do it anymore.
You don't get pleasure out of that. For once that ego trip is passed, once
you attain the things that you had always wanted.
Yeah.
It doesn't work anymore. You're just like, yeah, okay, I did that.
Yeah, just keep that in mind. It's something that's very important to keep in mind.
It's not worth it. Don't get stuck.
Yeah, money brings you comfort. Money brings you, and it's great. To have it, to not have to worry about bills and things like that. But aside from that,
but it's at a cost.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Okay, don't confuse wanting a man to provide for you with wanting to be provided for and not wanting to have to work, because obviously no one wants to work. And it is very possible that we will not be having to work for our basic needs come the next.
Definitely.
I'm going to give it a decade.
Yeah, it might be less than a decade considering how fast it's going, but AI is coming. Yeah. And it's going to take more people's jobs than you expect. And it doesn't matter what kind of profession you're in. You're in. It's just fast food is getting replaced.
Yeah.
Service industry is getting replaced. Workers in warehouses, all that. That's things that you hear about. But things that you don't hear about, lawyers are getting replaced.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
You're going to law school right now, and in about 5 years, you're not going to have any entry-level positions to come in as a law clerk.
If you can't get an entry-level job, you're never going to be able to get the work experience to get to that next level job.
Same thing. If you're a computer programmer right now, sad to say, but within 4 to 5 years, it's already happening where no one is hiring entry-level developers anymore because AI could actually do it better than entry-level developers. Yeah. So it's only going to get worse.
So at some point, the
government has to step in and they have to provide a basic income.
The government's going to be paying our bills.
Yeah.
That's going to be the new sugar daddy.
There you go. The government's going to be the new sugar daddy.
Yeah, you don't need a sugar daddy. The government will be your sugar daddy.
Bars.
At that point, there's no need for these men. Okay, last question. How do I avoid heartbreak? If you want to avoid heartbreak in your next relationship, plan ahead for the breakup.
Yeah, plan ahead for the breakup.
Always be ready for what your life is going to be without that person.
Yeah, you should have in mind that relationships by their nature might end. Your relationship's going to end one way, right? You're either going to break up or you're going to die. Or, I mean, honestly, it's either you're going to break up or one person's going to pass away. That's it. And if you have that in your mind, you kind of preempt it a little bit, where it's going to run its course in some way or some form. It could run its course forever.
Yeah.
Until, you're old.
That's true. You always have to plan for that, for them not being in your life. So you have to be able to always see yourself as the person without them. Like, logistically plan for your life without them.
Yeah, I wasn't even talking about logistics at all.
But I mean, you don't necessarily want to get into a situation where you're so tied to this person financially that if you do want to get out of a relationship, you're not able to.
Yeah.
For one. But two, you want to emotionally plan for not being with this person anymore. You have to periodically remind yourself that you are this person without them.
Not in a way of, shunning them, especially if you have a good relationship, but it's the easiest way. If you're dealing with heartbreak, just you know, in next relationship, just realize it could happen again.
It's very likely. If you want to avoid heartbreak, you have to learn how to get mad at things. You can't just be sad all the time. Learn to be mad at the things that they did to you.
Yep.
That's why you left. You weren't happy. Learn to get mad, because when you're angry, not that you want to stay angry forever, you want to let that anger go. But if you can get to a point where you're really seeing them for who they truly are, you're not going to be heartbroken when you're angry.
Yeah, it's all the same energy, right? Like you can't really be angry at a person and then also sad that they left. If you feel like intense anger, that's all you feel.
Because if you're angry at them, then why would you be upset that they're gone? Why would you be sad about it?
You can't do two things.
You can't do them both at once.
Yep. It's two extremes, so pick the other extreme.
Yeah, pick the other one. That was the last question. That went by kind of fast for me. I don't know about you guys.
That was pretty.
How was it for you guys?
Long, yeah. I don't know. Q&A.
Yeah. Let us know how you feel about this.
And send us your questions. Yeah, we do actually read the comments and everything.
100%. I have such a long list. I know I've told you guys, but you would be alarmed at this document that I have with so many subsections of questions from you guys. And this was the only way we found so far to get through more than 4 topics, because we tend to go off as I'm doing right now.
For sure.
So if you're on YouTube, comment your questions. If you're on Spotify, Apple, things like that, you can DM me on Instagram at Casiah West, CASIAHWESC. But thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.